The name's Nukem, Duke Nukem, here on Bombad Radio, and they've got balls of steel. Take it from me.
You, sir, are Bombad.
This is Bombad Radio.
This is Commander Shepard, and Bombad Radio is my favorite podcast on the Citadel.
The one and only podcast for the Gungan Council.
The force is very, very strong at the Gungan Council.
With all the guests.
This is a Bombad Radio special with author Sean Williams,
Barbara Hamley,
Steve Perry, all the humor.
Why should adult fans watch the Clone Wars? Because Obi-Wan Kenobi says that you should.
Is it so wrong?
Of a community for Star Wars and much more.
We all like fun, don't we?
Wait, a lot. I know who doesn't like fun. Cthulhu.
Join us now.
And welcome! It's Bombad Radio. Another episode, another fun-filled adventure awaits.
Indeed it is, Cat. We have a very fun-filled adventure today. We have Consetta Parker of Parker Publicity. And so, without any further ado, welcome to the show.
I have my Mountain Dew.
And I have my Mountain Dew as well.
Well, my name is Consetta Parker, and I founded Parker Publicity a little over a year ago, which basically I handle all entertainment management agent type things, all the behind the scenes and the strong right arm of various talented people, including James Arnold Taylor and Catherine Tabor, and which we actually met because of the love of Star Wars that we all have. And I also am the media and marketing manager for Rancho Obi-Wan, which I'm very, very proud of as well. You know, since the age of 6, seeing Star Wars in the theater in 1977, my whole life changed. I mean, it's, you know, people say that all the time, and it's absolutely true. It was a profound joy that I found that summer of 77, and I never let go of it. I represented Warner Brothers, DreamWorks, Paramount, Disney, Sony, Fox, MGM, all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
First time we got in contact with you was last, I want to say July or June, when we first started trying to, see if we can actually get guests on. I think we were going for James Arnold Taylor back then.
Oh, yeah.
So that was literally like right after you started representing James and so on?
Yeah, actually, so as a studio publicist, I was working in LA. I actually got into films because of Star Wars, because I wanted to, learn how the movie magic was made. So it really kind of steered me in that direction. As I was working in LA, it was by total chance that I was walking past one of my coworkers from the San Francisco office, and she's on the phone. She's like, "No, you can't be sick. I need somebody up here on Monday to work at Skywalker Ranch," which did the immediate, I just froze, and I was like, Rebecca, what are you talking about, Skywalker Ranch? And she's like, "Oh my God, I totally forgot, Consetta, you're a Star Wars fan. I'm a person short. Can you, fly up to San Francisco and help work the Revenge of the Sith press junket at Skywalker Ranch?" So after I burst into tears, it's like, of course. So I flew up and worked at Skywalker Ranch for the press junket, which is where I met my Stormtrooper husband. We met on May 4th on the back porch of the main house at Skywalker Ranch, and he's in the 501st, so here comes a stormtrooper walking into my life. And
so May the 4th be with you has far more meaning to you.
Absolutely, yes. So I met him. It was instant. I knew. I was like, this is my whole Star Wars journey has led me to this place, and because all I ever wanted since I was little was to find a boy that loved Star Wars as much as me. And he was standing before me at Skywalker Ranch. So I moved back to LA, pretty much gave my notice, quit my job, moved up here to Northern California to be with my Stormtrooper. So we had a huge Star Wars wedding. It was featured on TLC.
Wait a second, that was you?
Yeah, thank you. So,
dude, we're all about Star Wars.
Because we're up here in Northern California, I actually joined the 501st as well. We are the garrison that's closest to Lucasfilm. So whenever they needed, for events, we would always go and we would help and we would participate and volunteer. And I got to meet people at Lucasfilm who knew my background in publicity, and I'd worked with them at the Revenge of the Sith press junket, so I would help them as well. That's how I met James and Catherine and Tom and Dave and Dee and everybody who are just fabulous. We actually became really good friends, and we were just kind of sitting and talking, and it was one of those things that James and Kat and I that we were like, it's great what you do, and you've always helped us. And they asked me if I'd be interested in working with them and representing them. I mean, that was kind of a no-brainer. It just, the light bulb popped, and it was a conversation, and we all just sat and brainstormed, and I was like, I'll go for it. My two passions in life have been Star Wars and animals, so I've also have a lot of experience with Humane Society work and animals in general. So I was managing a veterinary hospital up here for a few years, and was completely kind of out of the industry loop, so to speak, aside from doing volunteer work with Lucasfilm. I realize how completely fortunate I am that I get to do something that I truly care about and passionate about and that I love. And no matter how difficult or hard it is still, I'm like, I had a tough journey getting here. I worked my ass off to get here. I'm very good at what I do, and I love what I do. And the fact that I got to combine that passion and work and assist with something that I've always cared about, which is Star Wars and all that is involved with that. It's like you find all these people that I'm like, oh man, we totally would have been friends when we were little kids. And then because of our Star Wars wedding and the story that unfolded with that, Steve Sansweet, he contacted us because he'd heard about it, and that's how we kind of met Steve just by total chance. Went to Rancho Obi-Wan, met him. It was an instant bond. We consider him family, and that was a whole other fantastic door that opened. I've worked with the guys from Hughes the Force, which has been a fantastic journey. Another just random way that people that love Star Wars are kind of drawn together. J.C. Reifenberg, who's the writer-director, and Rourke Dreher and Stephen Koytensen and all them, got together to create this fan film that James and Kat are actually both in. He played Obi-Wan, and she played Padme, and we had other cameos, including Kevin Smith, and we did a huge LA premiere last October. It was awesome.
I hope it comes by here, or at least there's someplace I can see it, because I want to see that film, but it's kind of hard to see.
I can almost pretty much, you didn't hear it here first kind of thing, guarantee you'll be able to see it soon.
Yes! Sweet.
I'll keep you posted on that. Also with my Humane Society work, I have been very fortunate that to be working with the Humane Society of the United States. Actually, James, Catherine, and I, all three, are working with them on a very special project that I can't go in detail about, but it does involve a major studio and a major animation studio. And Catherine has her own charity, Games for Soldiers.
Yes, that one where you turn the video games and so on, and they send them to soldiers that are deployed?
Yes. So she actually, there's, we're working right now, it was low on donations, so if anybody's interested in donating to this cause, gamesforsoldiers.com. The feedback and response from them regarding this charity has just been overwhelming and fabulous.
So just a little bit back on our other topic, with time. So you said you were a Star Wars fan, since you were really young. So what was it like the very first time you actually had to call Lucasfilm for a job?
Oh, yes. Probably the first time that I worked with them was was for the Revenge of the Sith press junket. So it was complete immersion. It was, okay, now you're being, I was, picked up at the airport and then taken to Skywalker Ranch. And I was so emotionally overwhelmed and as a fan that when that gate opens and you roll onto the property, and I started to cry. And then I just, got out of the car, and then we all had this huge brainstorming meeting with everybody at 20th Century Fox, their publicity team, and I knew most of them because I'd worked with them. And then all of the publicity and marketing team from Lucasfilms. Everybody introduced themselves. We had a great time, went over everything, got to business, but understood and appreciated what we were all doing. So it was a very good experience immediately, and I have a huge respect for them and for what they do. But meeting them at Skywalker Ranch was I was like, well, it doesn't really get any better than this. As we were rounding up all the press to shuttle them off, and of course, when the first bus left, what did I say? The first transport is away. So that kicked it off, and then we just started saying different things. We had a lot of fun on the last day. When I was 7 years old, I promised myself that I would meet Han Solo someday, which I did. When I met Harrison Ford, that was at that time, that was the best day of my life.
Awesome.
And
I want to meet Billy D. Williams. Then my life is complete.
I got to walk when I was working in LA at a red carpet premiere. It was one of those that the call came out over the walkies. They were like, "We have extra talent showing up. Does anybody want to walk Billy D. Williams?" And I literally like pushed people
Bolted.
out.
Bolted. I would have been beating the crap out of people.
Yeah, so I got to walk with him down a red carpet, and we talked, and he was just wonderful. I got him, escorted him, got him to a seat, came back outside, and silently cried to myself at how fabulous it was. I said, so let me know if you need anything, sir. I said, and on a personal level, please know what it means to me that I'm standing here side by side with Lando Calrissian, and he put his arms around me and he said, "You can't be old enough to even know that." And I was like, "Oh, God bless you for saying that." Sometimes I stop and think, I'm like yesterday when the phone rang, and I'm like, it's James. It's, Obi-Wan Kenobi is calling, and when I talked to Catherine, and we're truly really good friends as well. So even if we didn't quote unquote work together, we still have this friendship, and they're two people that they're two of my favorite people ever. They're just wonderful. As an example, I know, especially you, Bane, because you're a huge JAT fan. And
oh, yes, he is.
If there were any doubts as to how completely fabulous he is, some people know that my cats are my children, so Alfie and Frankie. And Alfie was diagnosed a year ago with feline lymphoma, and it was completely devastating to us. So he's been going through chemotherapy for a year, and he's in remission, just fabulous. Our miracle cat, couldn't be happier. Initially, obviously, I became
that must have been hard.
Very devastated, very depressed, and James and Catherine both were like, "You take all the time you need. Family comes first. We know he's your baby." And James recorded messages for Alfie as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh.
Wishing him well. I still will get all emotional just thinking about it when I heard it and played it, and he still sends messages, and they both always ask about the boys, and we share pictures of our kids, and that meant a lot to me. So on a personal level, they're both just two absolutely wonderful, dear people.
Yeah, I still recommend people to look at James Arnold Taylor's Facebook page whenever they feel down, because he always has those positive comments on there to try to get people to feel better about life.
Absolutely. He truly is a very inspirational person, and that's what he tries to convey. And even when, because he constantly is works very hard. There's a lot coming up, obviously, with Star Wars weekends and Celebration. And
as a host, yeah.
He's getting ready to go to Ireland for the Invasion Dublin convention to debut his one-man show, Talking to Myself, it's just phenomenal. He debuted it last year at Star Wars Weekends, and the response was just overwhelming because, yes, it's entertaining. He does over 150 voices. He is Obi-Wan Kenobi. He is Johnny Test. But the message with it is so inspiring, and you know that when you're watching him, if James can do it, then you believe that you can do it too. And he's Obi-Wan Kenobi now.
Well, he's going to be doing it in Ireland.
Yeah.
Can we assume Star Wars Weekends or Celebration? We know he's at Celebration, so he'll do something.
Right, or probably. You could probably.
He's a host, and so we're assuming he'll have some major role.
Yes, he's going to have a major role because he is the host of the main stage. We're super excited. There's a lot of brainstorming and planning going on, and I think everybody's just going to be thrilled with Celebration 6 and with Disney Star Wars Weekends. And you never know what's going to happen at Comic-Con.
We have a goal that someday we'll get him on either live or like this, or maybe we catch him at Celebration. But someday we're going to get him more than just.
Oh yeah.
I can guarantee that. So
we are of the mind we don't like to cultivate just connections. We like to cultivate friendships because it's Star Wars. It's something we all love. So we understand that kind of stuff.
That quote should be on your website. Or on your business card. That's a fabulous quote.
Well, we'd like to thank you for being on the show, especially since I contacted you a couple days ago.
I'm happy.
You were so gracious on just accepting right away.
Thank you so much for the invite. I really appreciate it. And I mean, anytime you can just sit and talk about Star Wars is is awesome. So I appreciate it. Well, thank you so much, you guys. This was fun. Well, may the force be with you in the rest of your day.
May it be with us all.
This has been Bombad Radio, the official podcast of the Gungan Council. That's thegungancouncil.yuku.com. You can find the podcast at thegungancouncil.podbean.com. Thanks for listening.